live. So again, learning to do this, but I'm starting to have these conversations a little bit about woodworking, right? And a little bit more than just, the actual act of making things. I'm trying to talk about different aspects of being a woodworker, of being someone that creates things and makes things and is kind of physically attached to the world, as opposed to where we're at now, which is this digital thing, which is funny because I'm talking about this physical thing on this digital platform, right? So anyway, subject for today is woodworking can save manhood. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? So what I mean by that is that we have a kind of a declining man, and I'm going to speak in a lot of generalities in this live, and I'm going to speak in a lot of. I'm not going to provide a ton of nuance, right? Because that's later. That's a later conversation. The conversation needs to kind of start with the kind of a broad, sweeping thing, and basically what we have is we have a society right now that is operating in a digital space, and they're excited about operating in a digital space, and that's great for certain people, right? I'm going to use the analogy of college, right? Like, we decided that the best thing for everyone to do was go to college, and we kind of see what's happening now, right? Like, it's turning out that's not such a hot idea, and then I'll try and stay unpolitical about this, but I think most people would agree that college has not lived up to what it was supposed to be, right? And and I'm sure it's like everything; it'll have a downturn, and then it'll have an upturn, and that's life, right? But anyway, I want to begin this. I wrote some notes here, and I want to have this conversation about manhood. Okay, now, to have this conversation, we have to all kind of agree on certain things, and if you disagree, like, go someplace else, because we're not having that conversation yet. Like I said, I'm starting off with a very broad, general kind of a conversation about men and, operating in a physical world and remembering to what it's like to live in, this amazing world that we have. Okay. So here's some terms I wrote down, right? So we all need to agree about, we need to agree about what men really are and what they represent, and what I wrote down here, very broad things. I wrote down that men are physical. Okay, we all have to agree that men are physical. I know some people are going to say, "Oh, not all men." No, we're not talking about that. Men are physical. Okay, that's just for the sake of this conversation. That's what it is. Okay, men are providers. Okay, men need to be useful. Okay, it's not that they want to be useful. Like, there is a innate need to be useful. Okay, men need to provide. They have to feel like their life means something. Okay, sex, right? Sex, spreading genes. Men, need to have sex. They want to have sex. It's a very manly thing, right? It's part of our DNA. It's who we are. We have to spread our genes, right? This is just what it means to be a human. Procreation. It's all important stuff. The other thing I wrote down was legacy, right? And I don't mean like we have a company, or we have our name on a building. But we do have the desire to pass things on to the next generation, whether that's our children or people around us. Men have a desire to have something that's going to live longer than they will. Okay, and as a woodworker, obviously, furniture is very easy, or building a house or a garage or whatever. Anyway, then let's see here. The last thing I wrote down is competitive, right? And I think this is kind of an overlooked aspect of being a man. Men are competitive, right? And again, people say, "Oh, not all people are blah, blah, blah." Like it. No, for the sake of this conversation, men are competitive. We want to be competitive. We want to be the best, and if we don't, I'm sorry, you don't count in this conversation, okay? Men want to be competitive. And so those are our terms, right? Physical, provider, sex, legacy, and being competitive, okay? These are all kind of key aspects to being a man. And again, some people aren't going to have all those traits. Some people have, will be hyper in those categories. Other people will not be. But anyway, so with that being said, there's a lot of literature out there right now that basically says that testosterone levels in men are down by as much as like 50%. And you can just go Google it. It's very well known. It's widely known. And why is that? There's a lot of research out there. There's a lot of people that have opinions about it, but again, it's just one man's perspective. I believe it's because of this thing that we're watching right now. Okay, it's the phone, literally the phone, right? And all the stuff that's on it, the apps, the digital videos, the dopamine hits that we get from the likes and the comments and all that kind of stuff. And all that stuff's great. It's all, has its place for sure. But I think the reason that testosterone is so low in men these days is because they don't matter. They don't do anything that they can see every day, right? You don't build a walkway to your house, right? You get to see that walkway every day. You don't. People aren't into fixing cars anymore, right? So it's not like you get to drive this car that you worked on, that you fixed up. Like, people don't even know how to do that anymore. And when I say people, I mean specifically men. Everyone wants to drive some, thing that never needs any maintenance, that doesn't need anything, that's super reliable and all those kind of things. And that's not how men are supposed to be. Like, we don't want safety. We don't want, everything to be perfect. Like, we need chaos. Men need to fix shit. They need to make shit. Like, they need to go out, onto the Serengeti and go find dinner and all the dangers and effort that are associated with doing that. And woodworking is a conduit to all of this. Woodworking is a conduit to fix everything that ails men today. And I feel very strongly about this. And I'm a 44-year-old man. I run a woodworking company, business, a manufacturing company, and I see it. Like, I've probably hired 100 people. I've fired 90 of them probably. I see it. I see what's going on with men today, and it really bothers me. A couple examples I want to give. Like, I've hired people, like, men don't look you in the eye anymore. They don't shake hands, and if they do shake hands, they shake like a bitch, right? There's a very famous study about this whole testosterone thing that equates testosterone levels and longevity, like how long you will live, with grip strength. And men today, I mean, it's a problem. Like I said, I hire a lot of people. I fired a lot of people, and we gotta fix it. It's gotta get fixed. And I don't have the answers, but again, topic of this conversation is woodworking can save manhood. Okay, so take today. We got a lot of people that are everyone's bitching about houses, right? Housing markets. Interest rates are so high and it's hard to live. Everything's so expensive. Blah 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 blah. And there's truth to that, right? There's truth to that. But someone that makes things kind of has an advantage, right? If you know how to work on your car, you don't need a new car. I just did a post earlier this morning, like, what does a woodworker drive? I got 3 cars, and most of them are pieces of shit, but I've worked on all of them. I've done all the work to them, and they run great. There's always some kind of little thing that needs to be addressed, but it's reliable transportation, and most of my cars are paid for. If you have to work on your house, woodworkers know how to work on shit. And even if they don't know how, they have the mechanical aptitude to figure it out, right? They have a quiver of skills that they will be able to figure it out, okay? Everyone complains about the housing thing again. I'll go back to that. You don't need to buy a $300,000 house if you're a woodworker, right? If you have skills with your hands, you can buy a house for $100,000. Fix it up. Here's another thing about woodworking, right? Woodworkers like to make things. Woodworkers make mistakes. Woodworkers aren't afraid of danger. They're not afraid of hard work. They'll go out and tackle anything, and that's really important. Being able to make things, to challenge yourself in the real world brings a sense of confidence and satisfaction that you cannot get on your phone. And people can argue with me. I will go to my grave saying this. The person that lives on their phone and lives on a computer and lives in a classroom is really going to struggle. And it's not because they're not intelligent, it's not because they don't have something to offer, but it's because they are afraid of the real world, right? They're afraid of going out into society that doesn't have, that things aren't nerfed, right? They're afraid of, their car breaking, their house breaking. They're afraid of what they're going to get to eat. They're afraid of so many things because they don't know how to do anything. And the only thing that they're good at is this one little thing that they learned. And if that's not in their orbit all the time, there's anxiety. And anyway, so as men, we need to teach the younger generation how to make things. We need to teach the younger generation that it's okay to breathe dust. I see people and it fucking drives me crazy. Driving down the street and they got a mask on in their car because their head's so fucked up from, what happened a couple of years ago. And then there's a lot of people that'll, have something to say about that, but that's exactly what I'm talking about. You're the person that I'm talking about. Oh, well, so-and-so had, somebody die, and we're great. That's them. I'm not worried about them. That's a what we call a micro issue, right? I'm talking about macro things. I'm talking about big picture stuff, but we have to be able to send the next generation out in the world, and they have to be able to make something, they have to be able to go out into the world and not be afraid of everything, and let me tell you something about a woodworker. When a woodworker goes to work, or any tradesman for that matter, any tradesman, they are surrounded by risk all day long. All day long. You think that they give a fuck about getting sick? They don't. And we've diluted our culture into thinking that, unless somebody else provides some kind of a safety mechanism for you, that maybe you shouldn't go participate in that activity. And that's bullshit, right? As woodworkers, everything we do is dangerous. And there's lots of companies out there that are trying to take what we do and they're trying to pussify that as well. Take this company's, Saw Stop, great product, has a place in it, but that company, believe it or not, from what I've read, they tried to get every company to have to use that technology, right? And that's basically taking legislation and trying to apply that to business, and that's wrong because you are taking the thing that makes a tradesman exceptional at what they do, which is this, right? It's being hyper aware. It's being able to gauge risk, being able to, make things happen in the safest way possible, right? You're taking that away. There's been lots of studies about automation, and automation again has a place, but when you add too much automation, people forget how to do things, right? They become complacent. And anyway, we've done that with our whole culture. Our entire culture is complacent now because we don't do anything. Everyone's so excited to get on their phone and make TikTok videos and YouTube videos and Instagram posts, for clicks and likes. And, everyone's, it blows me away. I see people go to these riots or not riots, people go to these protests, right? They're all protests now. And I'm thinking where do you have all the time for this shit? It's like I'm 44 years old. I've never worked under 60 hours a week. I'm not. Where do you get time to go to a fucking protest? I don't understand. So we got to teach culture to work again. I hear we had these auto workers, right? I think they wanted to work 4 days a week, and they want to work 32 hours but get paid for 40. Where's that mentality come from? And it's we've taught our culture that the successful people are the bad people, right? They're taking advantage of the employees, so to speak, and I get there's plenty of companies that do that, but again, as older people, as woodworkers, we got to teach people that you don't look down on the successful person. In fact, you look up to that person, right? You say, how did they do that? I want to do that, because there's nothing more that a woodworker wants or a successful person wants than to teach another person how to do it, And the problem is that most people, not only do they not want to do it, but they won't do it, right? That's the thing. If you tell them, hey, be to work 7 o'clock, do this 5 days a week, and you know what, you might have to work on Saturday, they're going to do it for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, and then suddenly shit starts to fall apart. And that's how it is with most people, which is, it's just a sad reality, So again, as woodworkers, we're trying to create men. We want people that are tough. We want people that are resilient. Like, we don't want a bunch of pussies. We just don't. We want real men, and men that work with their hands and men that get outside. I mean, the whole outside thing is a whole nother discussion, Being indoors on your phone playing video games, like, no wonder your testosterone is going low. Like, your dick doesn't know what to do. It's like, what am I supposed to get excited about a video game? Oh, I'm level 99. Like, what? What the fuck is going on? Like, get outside. Go do something. Take your woman with you. Like, your woman doesn't want to play video games. She might want to go on a hike. Go make her something. Go fix her car. Go work on the roof. Go do something for the person in your life. There's what you have going on the screen. That's not your significant other, right? Your job as a man is to spread your seed, right? Get a family, get a partner, get whatever, make some kids, move shit forward. Take your knowledge, pass it down to people. But if we want to create men, like, men got to do manly shit again. And anyway, it's so frustrating because people don't want to do that. I'm not sure, other than teaching people how to make things, teaching people that it's okay to be outside in the sun. You don't need to be on your phone 24/7. Teaching people that the value of coming home and looking at the thing you did every day, the amount of pride that will instill in you, it will foster in you, it's immeasurable. It's immeasurable, and I go back to this testosterone thing. Like, if you want men to have testosterone again, sperm counts are super low. You want that to get back up. Like, men have to act like men, and that's maybe a controversial thing to say, but man, I don't think so. Men make things. Men hurt themselves. Men get in trouble. Like, men don't sit all day, and I know some men do, but at the end of the day, they go fucking do something that is manly. Like, they go work out, they go run, they go make something, they go chase women, they go do something that makes them act like men, because sitting in front of a computer with fluorescent lighting in a cube, it's not good, and I guess we need those people, I get it. But anyway, like, we need to teach people to make shit, teach people that danger's okay, teach people, that, hey, do this thing, you're going to do it every day, you're going to do it 30, 40 times a day, and guess what, every time you do it, you could cut your hand off, so you better respect that tool, right? You better take care of that tool. You better make sure that the surface on that tool is smooth, because if it's not and starts to hop on you, bad things can happen. You better make sure the blade isn't dull on that thing, because it's going to be much harder to push that material through that saw. Guess what happens? Getting into a danger zone. So it's important that we teach people these things. That drill press, don't wear any gloves when you're using that thing, because man, if your glove grabs that part, man, you're going to break your wrist. I've seen it happen. But you teach people respect, and you teach people to analyze every day what they're doing, and you teach people pride. Like, pride is so important. Men need to feel pride, and I just don't think men feel enough pride. Going home to your, driving your electric car home from work to your little apartment in the big city, it's like, what are you doing? What are you passing down to your kids? What are you passing down to the next generation? What, do you teach people to live in a fucking box and drive some little electric scooter to work every day? Like, again, I know it's convenient, and you might like the nightlife, you get to go have drinks with your friends and, take your dog to a park, like, so they can go take a shit. Like, what are we doing? It's like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing? It used to be, and here we go, old man Eric. It used to be everyone wanted a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, ranch style home, get a garage in there, put a car in there, put my little workshop in there, and those, I don't know that that's what people want anymore, and so we're creating the society of people, that aren't gonna do anything. There's this guy named, what's his name? Klaus Schwab. He's got this thing that he says, like, you're gonna own nothing and be happy about it. And man, I think, I don't know if that's true, but you gotta kind of see where things are going, and Anyway, like I said, our culture just didn't used to be this way. Like we used to be hard ass people. We worked hard. We played hard. My stepdad used to have that saying, I work hard and I play hard, and he meant it. Like he meant it. Like that was a fucking man, and he taught me a lot of things, and again, I don't know what we're teaching people these days, and if all we're teaching people is to, get good grades and go to school so you can get that corporate job and live in that apartment in the city, like we're not doing our kids any favors. Like we're not doing the younger generation any favors. Like as woodworkers, we owe it to ourselves to teach people how to make things. We need to teach people how to respect things, and we need to teach people the value of passing that knowledge down to people, and the value of making a colorful and aesthetically pleasing world with the things that we make, and not the things that we make on our phone using Canva, but the things that we physically make in this world, and things that we pass down to the people after us, So anyway, I know it's a little bit of a rant, a little bit of information in there, but again, as one person's point of view on kind of making men again. Woodworking is one of the things that could definitely do that, because it just leads into all other kinds of interesting things, interesting thoughts. Woodworking leads into technology. Woodworking leads into wanting to work on your cars, work on your house, helping your friends do things. It's a net benefit to society, whereas if we all just exchange pictures back and forth on our phones and play video games all day, we're not doing anything for anyone around us, and it's like I said, it just makes me sad when I think about what's going on with society today, and I wish there's a little more interest in the trades and in working with your hands and being creative, because it makes the world a better place. It makes the people around you better. It just brightens everything. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say today. I know it's a little bit of a long-winded live here, but like I said, I'm trying to learn how to do this thing, and I want to have these conversations as well as make videos for everybody about how to make things. Like I said, I got a ton of videos that I've got on my channel, and yeah, we're gonna make some. I'm gonna show people how to make things, and if anyone has any questions or comments or wants to learn certain things, wants to learn how to make certain kinds of furniture, let me know. I make all kinds of things. Like I said, I got an employee or a company with about half a dozen employees right now, about 20,000 square feet, lots of tools. We paint things, we make things. It's a good place. So, have a great day.